Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on whether you should form a LLC or a sole proprietorship to start your high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. So I'm here on the Inkfile blog. I highly recommend Inkfile. I use them myself to form LLCs. It's very inexpensive. And if you are interested at the end of this presentation on forming an LLC, I highly recommend using them. And you can use the link in the description below to give me credit for referring you to Inkfile. Or just go to ecommerceparadise.com/inkfile. Anyway, so the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship, the main difference is that with an LLC, you get a certain amount of liability protection from lawsuits. Whereas with a sole proprietorship, all your personal assets will be liable if your business gets sued. That's the main difference. LLCs are really easy to form, and they're fairly inexpensive depending on the state that you form in. And with that said, I usually highly recommend to form your LLC in the state of Wyoming because it's very inexpensive. But the caveat to that is that if you live in a state that does have income tax, like California for instance, you're still going to have to claim your LLC as an out-of-state LLC, and you're going to be paying income tax on that LLC anyways, and still have to pay their taxes on like franchise taxes and stuff like that. So if you live in a state like that, then you probably just want to form your LLC in that state. For more information on this and your specific situation, I highly recommend talking to Inkfile. You can have a discussion with them, you can contact them and stuff like that. They're basically accountants, and they'll be able to give you the best information for your particular business needs. So I highly recommend that. So besides protecting your personal assets, you can also utilize a thing called pass-through taxation with an LLC. An LLC gives you the opportunity to be taxed as a sole proprietor, taxed as a partnership, taxed as an S corp, taxed as a C corp. So you can choose to be taxed by the IRS in any form that you want to with an LLC. The most basic form is for you're a single member LLC is to be taxed as a sole proprietorship. So it's similar, and you're still going to have to pay all your self-employment taxes, Medicare and Social Security, and state income tax if you have that. But you'll still have the liability protection. Now, if you want to work with somebody else, you'll need to file an LLC and list each member on there, and then file your EIN to be taxed as a partnership, or you can choose to be taxed as an S corp. But there are more important filing requirements to be taxed as an S corp, which are kind of a pain in the butt. So we found a certain method is actually to go ahead and do the LLC, tax as a sole proprietorship, and then form a separate liability limited partnership. Limited liability limited partnership, and that is actually a separate business entity in of itself that's available to form in, for instance, in a state like Wyoming. And by using those two in conjunction with each other and making that limited liability limited partnership a partner of the LLC, a limited partner, things get kind of confusing there. But by doing that, you'll actually be able to take a certain percentage of your income and have it taxed at the passive income level instead of the active income level, which is quite a bit lower. So it's a little bit more advanced. But when you're first getting started out, and if you don't have any liabilities, like you don't own a house, you don't have a big, savings account or a broker account, or you don't have a retirement account, if you don't have like assets to protect, big assets like other businesses and stuff like that, then you can just start off with a sole proprietorship. This is what you do usually when you're young, you're in college, you're just getting started out, you don't really have any assets, maybe you're in debt. Doesn't really matter. So just get a sole proprietorship going. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fast. And depending on the state, it's very, very little required to get one. If you want to do a sole proprietorship, all you really need is a DBA, usually in the state, and a business bank account will be available to open for you just with that DBA. And you'll have to talk to the bank, and I'll have another lesson on that, specifically on what usually they need from the bank. But if you file an LLC, even if it's a single member LLC, they'll request that you get an employer identification number, which I'm going to talk about in another lesson. And that will be required to set up a bank account. But besides that, LLCs do cost some money to start. So if you have no money, then yeah, sole proprietorship is the way to go. And also, by the way, if you're an international entity or person and you're looking to do business in the States, you're going to have to start an LLC. It's not really much of an option. So, yeah, with that said, Inkfile is very cheap. It's like $50 plus state filing fee. And LLCs are filed at the state level, by the way, just FYI on that. and that's why I recommend Wyoming. If you aren't in a state like California physically, and you can choose, then choose a state like Wyoming. Other income tax-free states are Texas and Florida, and those are the only other two I really recommend. Nevada has some issues. Washington has other issues as well. So I would probably form Wyoming, Texas, or Florida. Those are the ones I recommend. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. If you have assets to protect and you have a little bit of cash, then I would recommend starting an LLC. If you don't, then just go ahead and start with sole proprietorship. That's about it. And when you're ready to file, click the link below. Go to ecommerceparadise.com/infile. File your LLC there, and you'll be all set. I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on EIN numbers, also known as employer identification numbers, and whether or not you'll need one. So it says here on the IRS website, and the link to this article is below the video, every organization must have an employer identification number, even if it will not have employees. EIN is a unique number that identifies an organization to the IRS. So essentially, when you go and file your taxes as a sole proprietor, you're still going to need an EIN because the IRS wants to know what your business is doing. Now, the only thing you would not need an EIN for is if you had a job. So it's either you have a job or you start your own business. If you are self-employed, you need to have an EIN for your company that you are self-employed by. So by being self-employed, by having a dropship store, or even having your own service-based business on the side, you're going to need an EIN for every different organization you create in the future as a self-employed individual. So it's the same whether you have an LLC or whether you're a sole prop, partnership, whatever, you need an EIN number. And the bank is always going to ask for an EIN number in order to set up a business checking account. And you're going to be asked for your EIN number when you apply for anything online, dealer agreements from suppliers, affiliate agreements from partners and vendors. You're going to need an EIN number to get paid out by your merchant processor, so you need to get an EIN number. It's really simple to do, and all you need to do is fill out a form SS-4. And I will also link that in the description below as well. This is what it looks like. You just need to print this out or fill it out online and print it, and then mail it, or mail it out using a service like mailaletter.com, which I'll link below. And anyways, so fill this out to the best of your ability. If you don't know how to, just contact an accountant or lawyer to correctly fill it out for you and your needs for your business. But you'll need this. This is really important. So go ahead and get this started because the sooner you get it going, the sooner you'll be able to be in business. Okay. So that's it. Really simple. Get your EIN. And if you have any questions, ask an accountant or a lawyer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next lesson. All right, welcome to this lesson on the best small business checking accounts for high-ticket dropshipping. So you're going to need a checking account for your business, and this is going to be where you receive your funds and where you're going to pay your credit cards and other expenses. This article is on TransferWise.com blog, and TransferWise is kind of cool. It works really well for international sellers, but people all over the world can use it. They have what's called a borderless checking account, and basically they provide you with a checking account and routing number in any country you need, so that no matter where you're making an income from, you can actually have it routed through this account back to your home country and pay very little fees on it. So if you're international, this is the best solution for you. TransferWise, I highly recommend it. You can click the link in the description and get a fee-free transfer, I believe on your first $500 or so. So go ahead and do that. It's ecommerceparadise.com/transferwise to get that. But with that said, if you are in the States, then you will need a business checking account in the States, and they list some really good ones here. Number one, I actually use them. It's Chase. They have a total business checking account, and it's no fees if you carry over a certain amount balance or you process a certain amount of transactions and stuff like that. So just read through their stuff. If you don't have a $1,500 minimum deposit, you'll pay $12, $16 monthly fee. It's not that much, but yeah, they are very cool about stuff. They won't open an account though if your business is in Wyoming. So if your business is in Wyoming, You'll have to use Bank of America or TransferWise or Wells Fargo, and I think U.S. Bank might even work too. Bank of America is okay though. I've heard some complaints about them, specifically on their online business. So it's up to you. Tread wisely. Tread carefully. Yeah, TransferWise is great, especially if you are international. I already explained that. I haven't used this one myself. TD Business Convenience Checking Plus. You could look into it. I have used US Bank in the past for personal. I've never used them for business checking, but they are a good bank. And yeah, they've always done me well, so I could recommend them as a bank. Wells Fargo is great. I use them also for other accounts, and yeah, they do provide really simple business checking. I'm glad that they call it simple business checking because it's easy to figure out. And yeah, so those are my highly recommended ones. And yeah, links in the description are below. You'll need one of these accounts. You won't be able to sign up for one until you get your business formed, your LLC or sole prop, and you get your EIN and DBA if you're a sole prop. But once you do, you can form your business checking account, and you'll need that to get your business started. So go ahead and get started with that. Make your choice. Talk to a banker. Ask them more questions. And yeah, if they try to pitch you on a credit card after you sign up for your checking account, hold off and wait till you see my recommended credit cards in the next lesson coming soon. And yeah, you also need a business credit card. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on the best business credit cards for high-ticket dropshipping. So the cool thing about dropshipping is that you'll be purchasing all of the cost of goods sold, all the products that you sell, with credit cards. You're not going to be applying for credit lines with your suppliers or anything like that. You'll be using your good credit that you should have already in order to get credit cards that are high limit, and then you'll be using those. And if you apply for the right ones, you'll get a bunch of cash back and bonuses and stuff like that. So you can really increase the profit margins, and or just get a bunch of free travel or free gifts for you and your family and friends and stuff like that. So this is a blogger article on a blog called The Points Guy, which I'll link in the description below. Really great blog about getting rewards for cards and getting rewards for travel programs and stuff like that, and just traveling in general, tips and stuff like that, and deals for travel hacking. So I recommend their blog a lot. A lot of these cards are really good. I've had the Business Platinum American Express card in the past, and this one. I do currently have the Ink Business card, which is great. I use this for a lot of purchases because it provides 1.5% cash back, and I also use the Capital One, not the Spark, but the Spark, but not the Miles, the cashback version, Capital One Spark Cashback for business. It provides 2% cashback, so that's one I usually use because it provides the most. And that's about it. There's also all these other cards that if you apply for them, you get big bonuses, like the Hilton Honors is great because you get a ton of Hilton points, and you can redeem those for free stays at really nice Hiltons. And what else? The Marriott Bonvoy, that's a really great one. Explorer is great if you fly United. So it really depends on you and your lifestyle and stuff, but I recommend getting at least one, if not 2 or 3 of these cards. And hopefully, they're over $10,000 in limit, hopefully $20,000 or $30,000 or more. It really depends on your credit score and your past credit history and stuff like that. So if you have bad credit or if you have no credit, you're going to have trouble getting these cards. So I would recommend partnering up with somebody who does have good credit and credit history, and using their social security number to apply for the cards. So that's what I did in the very beginning. When I first got started, I was in my young 20s, and I didn't really have much credit history. I had credit cards with about $300 to $500 limit, so it wasn't really enough. So I started my business with a partner who was over 50. He had his own business, and he had a long credit history. And he was able to get a credit card for us. I think it had like a 30,000 limit right off the bat, so it was awesome. And I was really responsible and paid it all off in time. Every single purchase got paid off. And that's basically how it works. So it's really simple. And just go ahead and apply for at least one of these cards once you get your business going, so that you'll be able to do it. I would highly recommend just using this card for only business purchases. Do not put personal spending on this card. Have other personal cards for personal spending, because it's really going to simplify your bookkeeping. And which later on down the road, you definitely want to hire an accountant CPA firm to do your bookkeeping for you. It's very inexpensive, and it's a great way to save a lot of time with your self-employed business, so you can focus on growing your business, let someone else deal with your bookkeeping for you, and filing your taxes and all that. But with that said, definitely get one of these business credit cards and move on to the next lesson. See you there. All right, welcome to this lesson on do you need a seller's permit? So a seller's permit is something that is going to basically tell your suppliers that, number one, you are a real online retail business, okay? Number two, it's going to give you the ability to purchase products from your supplier without being charged sales tax. And in exchange, you're going to pass on the sales tax charge to your customers if and only if they purchase one of the products from your store and have it shipped to either the state that you're located in, that your seller's permit is in, or they have it shipped to a state where your supplier has a nexus, and your supplier will, no matter what, be required to charge you sales tax on that just because they have a nexus there. So all these things you can set up in Shopify to automatically charge sales tax according to which state, which product, or what supplier, which state, the product is shipped to and all that. But the essence is that to do an online retail business, you need a seller's permit. You're going to give your seller's permit to every single supplier that you sign up with. If they don't ask for a seller's permit, they're probably not a real supplier. They don't know what they're doing. So it's really easy to get a seller's permit. You just find which state and find their application and then submit the application to them. Some states it's free, some states charge money for it. If you happen to be taking my advice and registering your business in Wyoming and your nexus and your virtual office and all that stuff, which I'll get into in the next lesson, then you'll need to register for your sales tax seller's permit in Wyoming. And this is a blog article by TaxJar, and it breaks down really easy how to do it. So it's got some links here, as well as a phone number you can call for assistance. And they're going to ask for some information. Just fill out the permit, and the fee is $60 to file in Wyoming. Okay, and that's about it. So you'll get your permit within a week or two, usually, on average. So this is one of the things you really need to get done right away, because you cannot really get suppliers on board until you get this done. So get this done ASAP. And if you're not registered in Wyoming, you can go to the TaxStar blog, go up to states and choose your state, and it'll tell you how to get the seller's permit in your state. All right, guys, so get that going, and I will see you in the next lesson.
Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on what is a DBA and do you need one. So I have an article here pulled up at LegalZoom.com, which I'll link below. And the article is about filing a DBA in Wyoming. Now, this is assuming, of course, that you will start your business in Wyoming, like I suggest. Now, if you happen to be located in a state that charges income tax to its residents, like California, for instance, then starting a business in Wyoming isn't really going to be a smart thing to do unless you plan on moving out of California sometime soon. And for instance, like you want to become a digital nomad, start traveling the world, live in, Thailand or Indonesia or something like that, part of the year, live in Europe the other part of the year, that kind of thing, kind of like I do. If you don't plan on doing that, you just plan on staying there and whatever, you have a family, you have a house, whatever, file in your own state. This lesson is specifically on what a DBA is, though, and why you would need one. So a DBA stands for doing business as. Okay, so doing business as basically is telling that state that your LLC is actually doing business as a different name. So, or like if you do a sole proprietorship, you're doing business as a business separate from your name. So like Frank would be your name, for instance, and let's say you file your LLC, Frank's Hot Dogs LLC, or Frank's online, or Frank's Digital Marketing LLC, just for instance, and then you did a website called well, let's just use this example, Best Hot Dogs. So if you're Frank's Hot Dogs LLC and you did a website called besthotdogs.com, you'll need to probably, depending on your state, you'll want to file a DBA for besthotdogs.com, and you're basically going to be telling the state that you're doing business as that domain name. Now, when it's required versus when it's optional, this is key, okay? So depending on the state, again, maybe it's required versus optional. And what it's usually required for is a bank account. So like in California, for instance, that example, in California, you have to have a DBA in order to get a business checking account, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have an LLC, an EIN, all that stuff. You're going to need a DBA for that specific business for that bank account. In Wyoming, it's not required. Wyoming does not require the filing of DBA designation in order for a business to operate under a DBA within that state. So you can get a bank account for any LLC and operate whatever business you want under that in Wyoming. That's one of the great things about Wyoming. Privacy is awesome. So that's why it's really cool to file there. But on the other hand, if you want to have multiple bank accounts under that business, you will need to get a DBA for that particular one. So like you can have one bank account for your main LLC and put all your dropship stores under that in the beginning. And then when one starts taking off, then you can file a DBA for that particular store and set up a separate business checking account for that and separate your bookkeeping out, because things get really complicated when you have multiple stores that are doing a lot of sales under one business bank account and using like one credit card and stuff like that for all the expenses. So that's what I usually suggest people do. If it's required, you have to do this in the beginning. If it's not required, like in Wyoming, then you can get away with commingling things in the beginning, and then later on when things take off in one of the stores, then you can set up a DBA for each one and have a separate bank account. It's kind of how we got started. So we started with one LLC and one account, and then we ended up making a separate DBA for each store that we have, and now we have separate bank accounts for each store. Because they each have a DBA. So that's how we do it, because we're digital nomads, me and my business partner. I'm currently living in Bali. I go to Thailand, live there in the wintertime, Bali in the summertime. That's kind of how I do it, and I do traveling outside of that as well. But my home base is either Bali or Bangkok. So, and that's right now. It might change in the future, but with that said, the best state to form in and to have our business set up in, all the operations, was Wyoming, because of the ease of formation and the low cost and the privacy protection that they offer. So it might not be the same thing for you though, and you might need to form where you're exactly at. And if you're international, it's even more different. So if you are in a different situation than I am, I highly recommend you talk to an accountant or lawyer. So they'll be able to offer you the best advice for your situation. This is just basically a video teaching you what exactly this is and one way to do it, which is the way I've done it. So you can do that. DBA filing is really simple and easy. There's lots of websites that can help you. You can do it directly with the state yourself. Like in California, you can file a DBA yourself. You can mail it in. You can go right to the office and actually file it in the office, which takes maybe an hour or two. I've done that myself. For Wyoming, you definitely need to mail in, or I don't know if you can, you can do it online with a third-party company. If you're a digital nomad already and you're looking to do this kind of thing, you're definitely gonna have to do most things online and work with an accountant to get you a business bank account in the States if you can't fly back there immediately to do it yourself, or you can just fly back to the States and do it yourself in person. Another article I just wanted to share with you was this Shopify article. And this is just provides a little bit more insight into what a DBA is and how exactly you should form it and why you would want to form it. Okay, so at any rate, it's a pretty simple thing, and a DBA may or may not be required in the beginning. So in the beginning, you don't really need a DBA if you file in Wyoming, but if you're in a state that does require it, then file it. Just to reiterate that. And later on down the road, of course, you could file more DBAs for more businesses. And like in Wyoming, you can do a DBA for every single website you have, which would technically be a subsidiary of your main business, and then open separate business banking accounts, and then you have to deal with all the credit cards, but that's kind of farther along the line. So for now, at least just understand your legal obligations for DBAs and whether or not you're going to file one, and if you feel you need to talk to an attorney or a CPA about it. And get that done, and I'll see you in the next lesson.
Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on setting up your PayPal business account. So one of the last things you'll need to run your e-commerce business successfully is a PayPal account, and it's specifically a PayPal business account. So I'll put this link in the description below, but it's free to sign up, and your customers don't even need a PayPal account to pay on your Shopify store, but they'll probably have one. Most people use PayPal nowadays because, well, eBay was huge, and eBay didn't start PayPal, but they partnered with PayPal, and so now eBay owns PayPal, but PayPal and eBay have been linked for a long time, so people have been using eBay for decades now, and so a lot of people have PayPal accounts. You probably have a PayPal account, right? But you need to make a business account. So either change your personal one into a business account or make a whole separate account just for your business, okay? So the fees for paying, for your merchant processing fees are pretty clear. You can read the fee details and stuff like that. But the cool thing is that PayPal links with Shopify. So in the Shopify checkout settings and payment settings, you'll be able to link PayPal in there. So in your store, for free, you'll be able to have PayPal so that people can click the button and log into their account and pay for their product with their PayPal account, either with their account balance or with the credit card or debit card they have tied to their PayPal account. People can even pay with
an e-check that ties directly to their checking account. So PayPal's great, and I use them on all my stores. They make it pretty simple for buyers. They make it really simple for sellers. And you can even use it kind of like a separate checking account if you want to, because it sort of is like a checking account. It just doesn't have an account number or routing number like a bank does, but it has a place to deposit funds. And so that's pretty cool too. The sign-up process is really simple. You just have to click the button and go through and enter the information about your business. PayPal will ask you a series of questions. Do this after you've created your business. Use a email address related to your business. If you haven't created an actual business email, you can just make a business email with Gmail and use that for now. Just go to Gmail and sign up and make a business, like whatever your business name is, at gmail.com. And then you'll be able to sign up for that account here, and you can always change that email address later. So that's what I did, and that's what you can do too. So go ahead and create your PayPal business account because you'll need it later. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Hey, welcome to this lesson on what is a virtual office and why do I need one. So a virtual office is basically an address that you'll get from a company like Traveling Mailbox, for instance. And by the way, this is the one that I use myself and recommend. And if you want to check them out, you can click the link in the description below. This is a website that offers virtual office services. And what that means is basically that they have like a UPS store address where people can send you mail, and they will automatically scan that mail or forward it to wherever you want. And then you can see it online. You can get it delivered right to your email inbox. So like all your physical mail will get delivered to one address that's not your personal address, and you can see it online and deal with it through the internet. So it's perfect for somebody who wants to travel a lot. It's perfect for people that want to protect their privacy, because you don't have to put your personal address online. Then you can put your virtual office online, use it for all of your addresses across your business, and you'll never have to reveal your actual personal address anywhere. So this is great. Basically, yeah, like for anybody that travels a lot or becomes a digital nomad, you're going to need something like this. And then also people that, have assets to protect or want to protect their personal address and stuff like that. So I use Traveling Mailbox. They work great. Pricing is so low. I think it starts at $20 a month. And yeah, they have addresses in all different parts of the states. So you can pick and choose which state you want to set up in. The only thing with these guys is they don't have an address in Wyoming, I don't think. Yeah, they don't have... Do they have Wyoming? Oh, they do. They have Casper, Wyoming. So they do have a Wyoming address now, which is really cool. They didn't used to have this. This is great. So when you set up your business address, you can, when you set your business up in Wyoming, you can have a separate virtual mailbox in Wyoming, and use this for your personal address too. So you can actually, if you wanted to, really, you could move yourself to Wyoming and you can live there. Now, I recommend living in a state with no personal income tax, and that's why I'm mentioning Wyoming, because they don't have income tax. Another state that doesn't have income tax is Texas. Another one is Florida. Those are the other two that are really easy to set up in and get going. So, depending on what state you want to actually locate your personal residence in, if you have a choice, if you're a digital nomad, if you travel a lot, or if you think you might become one, then you might choose to set up there. This really depends on you and your business needs, and so you'll need to decide that upon yourself. Like, for instance, if you live in California and you set your business in California, it doesn't really make sense to set a virtual address in another state. Just set one in California as well. You can always set up new addresses in different states later on if you do decide to move, so it's really easy for that. But yeah, this is a great thing to use, and I highly recommend using it. Some virtual office providers like Regus provides co-working space membership along with it, but it does cost more, so it's up to you as to whether you'll take advantage of that or not. I don't use co-working spaces too much. I like to work from home, but maybe you do, so you can take advantage of that if you want. But yeah, so go sign up for Traveling Mailbox, get yourself a virtual address, and you'll find that throughout your business, it's going to make you look more professional. It's also going to allow you to have a lot easier time checking all your mail. Your mail gets checked for you, so you don't have to go to your mailbox and check your mail and open it and stuff. It gets opened for you. It gets sent to your email, opened. Even works great for credit cards. You can even have them take a picture of the back of the card for you. So if you're out of town or something like that and you want to verify a card, you can do that. But yeah. The only problem with a virtual address is that you still are going to need a physical residence to set up like a personal checking account. And so you're going to probably, if you don't have a physical residence, like you're a digital nomad, you'll need to use your parents' address or something like that, your brother, sister, cousins, whatever. But if you have a home address, great, you're already set there, obviously. So with that said, guys, go get your virtual office. If this is something you're interested in, click the link in the description below or go to ecommerceparadise.com/traveling mailbox and get started today. See you in the next lesson.
So, all right. So I just wanted to show you guys Finaloop because as far as e-commerce bookkeeping and accounting goes, Finaloop is actually one of the best now. It used to be other brands. Like in the past, I've used just my own spreadsheets. I've used QuickBooks Online. I've used a service called Bench. But when Finaloop started, I really just decided to switch over them completely because they actually are really clued into dropshipping, which is super good. So they're really good at DTC, multi-channel, wholesale brands, things like that. They have a Shopify app that works, really good directly with Shopify. It links to all your bank accounts through a really secure connection. Links to all your credit cards. So yeah, you can just do basically everything through there. They even have direct connections with like straight up drop shipping. Like that's a thing you can choose. So I don't want to show you guys my internal thing because it's a little bit private, but obviously I just wanted to recommend and suggest that you guys sign up with Finaloop. The sign up process is super easy and intuitive, and they have great support. So this is what I use for bookkeeping now, and I recommend you just get started with them in the very beginning. Even if you're commingling some of your credit cards between business and personal, which is perfectly normal, especially when you start scaling. It's really hard to just have one credit card for business because sometimes that credit card gets maxed out, things like that. So, but you can easily choose personal transactions versus business transactions on certain cards. And then you should definitely just have accounts that are only for personal uses, and you won't be connecting those to Finaloop. Whereas the ones that are only for business, you'll definitely be connecting those to Finaloop, as well as the cards that you commingle. But it's really easy to use, super intuitive. Their support is amazing. I just recommend using Finaloop. I used to recommend Bench. Bench doesn't really operate that quickly. It takes them months to come up with, your final P&L statements for each particular month. So you're kind of behind when you don't really know your full net profits and things like that. Whereas Finaloop, it's pretty much instant. All things are done for you, like right in there. So right at the end of the month, you already know everything because it's super fast and connected. So using my link below in the description, you get a 14-day free trial, and there's no credit card required up front. And once you want to get your bookkeeping done, it's only like $200-300 a month. So it's really affordable, and you don't have to pay yearly. You can just pay monthly. So really great for cash flow. So get into it, guys, and let me know if you have questions.
Hey guys, welcome to this lesson on setting up a USA company as a non-resident. I realize that a lot of people that want to start with high-ticket dropshipping, especially in this course, aren't actually residents of the USA. But the best place to do it is either in the USA or Australia, because the markets are so big, and specifically in the USA because the market is so big and the stuff works really well. So if you do want to start doing this and you are out of the US, you are a non-resident, you don't have a social security number, in other words, you can do it. It's pretty simple too. So be prepared and take some notes and go and take action, okay? Number one thing you're going to need is a business entity, some sort of an LLC. I recommend Wyoming, and I recommend filing with InkFile. The link is in the description below. An LLC is great because then you have a state presence. It comes with a virtual office, and with that address, you'll be able to have all your mail sent there, and then you'll be able to read it. So InkFile provides that. I recommend going with them for that. Now, an EIN is also very key to this. An employer identification number, it's something you'll get from the IRS, Internal Revenue Service of the U.S. And with that, you'll be able to, get a bank account and move money around and stuff like that. So the next thing you'll need is a USA bank account, like a business bank account with some bank like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase are all great options, okay? But you will have to fly to the US to actually set it up in person. You'll need your documents ready with you. Or your other option is to use something like TransferWise or Payoneer. For those, if you can't fly to the US or you just don't want to, or you have other complications, that's a great way. It costs a small fee, but you'll be able to move money from the US to your home bank in your home country. All right, the next thing you'll need is a business bank account with PayPal. And a PayPal account is really easy to set up, and as long as you have your EIN, you'll be good. And then a merchant processor account with a company like Stripe or another one, like Payoneer, for instance, that will work with you if you are abroad. So go ahead and get all that going, and as soon as you get that going, then you'll be able to set up your new business, and I'm super excited. Get into the next module, and I will see you there.